This conference will now be recorded.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll proceed with roll call. Marie Beshin, President.
Here.
Roberta Ernest, Vice President.
Here.
Marilyn Sorensen, Secretary.
Here.
Becca Paulson, Treasurer.
Here.
Directors Steve Deal, Jennifer Elswick, and Cindy Evans.
Here.
Thank you. All is present. Homeowner statement period. In-person speaker may speak for no more than 2 minutes. If attending virtually, please mute your audio. Please use the chat option for your questions. Comments should be addressed to concerns of the motion before the board takes formal action on the item and the formal discussion on the table. Negative comments directed at residents, employees of the association, or board of directors not to allow. Robert's rules of order. Steps in handling a motion. Step 1, making a motion. Step 2, having someone second the motion. Step 3, stating the motion. Step 4, debating the motion. And step 5, putting the motion to vote. Thank you.
Stand for this. I know, first of all, I have to say that it's awfully nice to see a huge crowd, and it would be awfully nice if all of our board meetings were this busy. It's unfortunate that the reason it's all this full is because of the contention, I guess, about CCNRs. The reason why I'm making an announcement is that the board has made a decision not to meet the CCNRs today. The reason for that, please let me explain. The reason for that is that we have gathered and listened and decided that there are a number of those changes that need further description on them and further clarification on them. It needs time. It needs more digestion. It needs more consideration. The wording on some of them were confusing, and it needed more time. We felt like that we were pushing it too fast, and because of that, because of this, there will be no reading today, and that it will, excuse me, and that when we do present it, we will do it at a later date, and that we will also have some question and answer times so that you will have an opportunity to digest the whole thing and then have an opportunity to present questions and answers to us. I would like to remind you that we are here, that we are residents as well, and that we are not paid politicians, that we don't have a special agenda, that when we started working on this document that we gathered together, we gathered information from the long-range planning, that we gathered it from various places. We gathered it from the committees, we gathered it from the clubs, we gathered it from the pools, from the standing at our homes, standing in the streets, from emails, from telephone calls, from all sorts of places, not from one place, but from various residents throughout the entire resort is how we came up with all these different changes, not one location. We don't have a special agenda here. We're just human beings that are doing our very best job. We're volunteers. We're not anything special here. So when we make mistakes, it's because it's an honest mistake. So please give us a little slack. I ask you to be a little patient. I also want to say that please don't rely on guessing when you look at this, um, and don't rely on what I call the modern day National Enquirer. I will admit that it's far more interesting than the fiction, and that truth be told, this stuff is pretty boring. And unlike some people who understand numbers and stuff, and I'm going to call out Becca and I'm going to call out Bill Paul, they think that stuff's really interesting, but it's boring. And it's just like taxes. We all have to pay them and we all have to read them, but we go to a professional for that. We don't go to our neighbor. And so please don't go to your neighbor and ask them if you've got a question. Go to a professional, and the professional is us. The professional is the manager, the professional is the board. So if you've got a question on these things, go there. Please don't go to your neighbor to get your answers, or don't go to like I said, what I call the National Enquirer. So I thank you for your patience on this, and I thank you for giving us a little bit more time.
Do you want to let them know that the vote is going to be postponed as well? The vote is going to be postponed as well?
The voting, of course, will be postponed as well because we're going to take a little more time on this.
And one more thing, I'm sorry. The documents are going to be rewritten as opposed to what's currently on the Neighbor Network. They're going to be changed, and it will be more explicit for everyone to see, and we'll post that as soon as they're ready.
Could you clarify, Marie, that will be in step one, reading one?
Absolutely. When it's done, it'll be the very first reading. Yes, we will start from scratch. Okay, now we'll start. Now, approval of the following meeting minutes.
I move to approve the minutes from the October 10th, 2024 Board of Directors meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any changes or adjustments, please? Discussion? All those in favor? Motion carried. All right, let me catch my breath here. Financial report. Dawn, do you have a financial report for us, please?
Yes, I do. As of September 30th, our cash in the operating account was $936,892. In the reserve, $3,805,165. Activities, $260,360. The clubs, $155,775. And the asset improvement, $1,158,701.
Thank you. Becca, is anything? Becca?
I move that the financial statements for September 2024 be approved.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none. I have all those approve? Aye. Motion carried. I have no committee reports on here. Nothing on activities, nothing on club updates, old business. May I have a motion on the bingo machine?
I move to approve untabling the previous motion for the purchase of a new bingo machine and have activities purchase the new bingo machine with activities funds.
Second.
Any discussion? Any discussion from the floor? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carried. Okay, new business. Approval of board resolution for annual meeting and election policy. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the board resolution for annual meeting and election policy.
Can I have a second?
Second.
I have a discussion?
I have a question.
1 second.
I'm concerned about not the annual date of the budget process, but I am concerned that the annual meeting gets moved to potentially the third week in April. And I don't know about some of you people, but I'm on my way home by the third week in April. So that's my concern. If half of the residents are gone when we have the annual meeting, that could be problematic. So I think we need to consider that.
The reason it was being moved is to keep everything lined up. All that is done at the annual meeting is the president's report, the treasurer's report, and approval of the minutes from the prior year's report. Everything else happens in a regular board meeting. So we did not feel with those 3 items, all that you may want to hear them or see them, we did not feel it was a big deal to move the annual meeting to April and to keep everything in alignment with our change in fiscal year. I don't see any reason not to move it because of there's no specific board agenda item that necessarily would affect the residents in that meeting. We are moving it to keep it closer to year end. Our year end is moving to June 30. The new fiscal year will be July 1 to June 30, rather than May 1 to April 30. The annual meeting had been 2 months before year end in February. We want to move it to April to have it 2 months before our June 30 year end. That's the only reason.
Come up to the microphone, please, if you have questions.
My name's Janice Bud Fentress. I'm in lot 64. I guess I'd just like to see, with a show of hands, how many people would not like to see the date changed?
Again,
Let me ask a question. Can somebody please address why? When those are the only items that are on the annual meeting. It doesn't affect when elections or any of that type of thing. Only the president's report, the treasurer's report, and approval of the prior year's minutes. So I'm not sure why that is a great concern to a lot of you. If somebody could explain that, it would be very helpful.
go ahead, Will.
Hello, my name is Will McNamee, lot 1674. And I agree with the board that they should move that to that time frame. And the reason is for finance reporting, it does have to do with end of year. And I think I'd like to see a show of hands of people who doesn't have a problem with that. Thank you.
Hi, Kathy Stark, lot 1405. Can you assure us and guarantee that there will be no business? It will be strictly a reporting meeting.
It has been in all prior years. That is all that's all that happens at the annual meeting. I think people are confusing the annual meeting with the regular board meeting that happens after.
And that's possible, but that's my main concern, and it sounds like it's a concern of others, that nothing business-wise, no decisions, no proposals, no after the minutes decisions will be made at that annual meeting. And just because you haven't done it in the past doesn't mean you won't do it in the future.
Why are you, hold on a minute. I don't understand the concern when we're having board meetings now all year. In the summer, when everybody's gone, we already have board meetings. Why, I just don't understand The concern is,
I've not been in the park for many years, like a lot of the people here. So I can't speak to what's happened in the past. I have heard, again, in the Inquirer, that decisions are made after a lot of the people have left the park. And now that we have an electronic way of attending the meetings, the impressions, the ability to provide feedback may change. But for right now, with this point of discussion, you asked why so many people don't want to see it changed. And it has to do with our concern that something will be happening and there won't be the body of people here to hear the proposals, hear the changes, and express their opinions. Thank you.
Hi, Dave Abraham, 1763, and all I'm asking for you to do is put the words out of your mouth, put them in the minutes recorded that you will not be making changes to that meeting.
It is not a business meeting, it's an annual meeting. It's not a regular board meeting.
So it shouldn't be difficult for you to say you will not be making changes at that
We're not
meeting.
making changes at that
That's
meeting.
going in the minutes, right? All I want. That's all.
They can go in the minutes.
Hi, Lily Atkinson, lot 1716. Hello, everybody feeling well? I want to know, if it's not a big deal, why are you insisting on pushing it? Just answer that and I'm happy.
because of
the budget. It has to do with the budget. That's all.
Sue Hartzell, Lot 549. A lot of people are here in the summer. I never saw as many as I saw this last summer. I've been here since 93, 2,000 permanent. And I know a lot of people that now stay here. We've had a lot of people die. We're getting new people. But the new people cannot want to change everything just because they can. So I'd like to see a lot more discussion that we all can be here. They leave in March, don't come back till November, a few in October. So how is changing it to April going to help? February, it's better that way, really, before you make big decisions, because everybody's here then. They start leaving in March.
once again, I will say, we make no decisions at the annual meeting.
Okay, Donna 379. I've been to the annual meeting, and I can tell you guys that there wasn't even an eighth of the people here when it was done before. So all of you that raised your hands need to be here for that meeting, because they don't discuss anything but what Becca has said, period. So I'm just saying, if you don't want the change, your fannies better be here when they do that report.
I'm Mickey Aston, Lot 13. I'm a 39-year resident and owner. And I'm proud to be here. There's two items up for discussion right now, I believe. One is the annual meeting, and the other one is the election policy, correct? We're on that topic?
No. Annual meeting. The
Board
only
and-
election part of that is up here on this board, and we elect who's president and who's vice president, who's treasurer. That's the only part of the annual meeting.
But
No.
what's
On
excuse me,
item
yeah.
under new business number 1, are we discussing approved board resolution for annual meetings and the election policy?
It's all on the same resolution.
It's the resolution for the annual meeting. Why is it so?
What is the election policy part of this item? We can't hear the board.
We're only discussing the annual meeting right now.
Okay, but am I on new business J, number 1?
So, excuse
But the
me.
motion
what-
is only about the annual meeting.
Excuse me, what's on the agenda, Mickey, you're correct, is to approve the budget resolution for the annual meetings and election policy. It's on the same, you all have, it's on the same resolution. So that's what Mickey's asking, correct?
I'm asking if the election policy is a separate topic from the annual meeting. Okay, I guess I'm confused what this item reads then. Approve the board resolution for the annual meetings where you're wanting to change the date. And then I thought there was a second item that had to do with the election policy. I took that as 2 separate items.
The resolution that was written by the board, again, is one document, Mickey, I'm sorry. And it says, board resolution for annual meetings and election policy. It's all on the same document.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay, so I don't know what that resolution is. I don't think we got that handout, right? Okay. So is the election policy having to do with our new election process with Election Buddy, electronic voting? What is this item?
okay, if you guys do not recall this, it was given to me by board, then you need to table it. Because you're not, they're asking for an explanation and they're not getting one.
Marie?
I would like to see an item on here that has to do with election policy and the new procedures that are going to be going forward because we don't have an election committee anymore. So I wonder how this is all going to be handled.
Yeah, I apologize.
The annual meeting is another topic for me.
Yeah, the election policy part inadvertently got attached to that, and I apologize for that. It should not have been attached.
Okay.
Yeah.
There
Marie?
was also another correction to the agenda, so I understand. I think that, to be blunt with you all, I think I've talked with most of you. I think that you have a trust issue with the majority of the residents for whatever reason, for the way the communication, and you know that I have always said communication is the key to any relationship, marriage, business endeavor. In this community, you have to communicate. I know you do it in multiple ways, but there is a trust issue going on here. And I wish you success because, again, I've been here 39 years.
Marie? Marie?
Hi, Brett Bonner, 1670. I was going to ask the same question about the agenda item, but I'm curious, why isn't there an election committee anymore?
That's off topic, and I'll be happy to talk to you after the meeting.
Okay.
That is off topic, and you know the rules and regulations of the board meeting. You don't go off topic on the agenda.
Okay. That being said, would you mind reading the resolution since none of us have a copy? The one that they were going to table?
It's not my position, that's the board's position to read that.
Board, would you mind someone reading the resolution? Thank you.
Madam President, I would like to remove or pass a resolution, a motion dealing only with the annual meeting date, period.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
And get rid of the confusion. So I would like to get rid of that prior, we need to have that prior motion withdrawn and a new one made.
Yes. The motion to be amended.
Again, if you guys don't recall, I think you need to table it and look into it more because it's a 2-page document that I received.
And Darlene, you're saying that it should not be just amended, that it has to be tabled?
On this resolution, it doesn't even state that the date that you're moving the annual meeting to. What it says is the board shall set the date, time, and location of the annual meeting. It says nothing about moving it to April. So again, you need to either rescind this motion, completely take it off the table, or table the motion. And you guys need to look at this because I received it to be put on the agenda.
I move that we table the motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right. Okay. Next on the agenda is the approval for the dedication area of the Create a Nursery for repurposing plants.
I move to,
The DRC guidelines has been removed.
I move to approve up to $500 for the Landscape Committee to refresh planter pots by the guardhouse and town center courtyard.
Discussion? Nothing from... Do you want to explain anything? Do you want to discuss, Jennifer?
The landscape committee has been tasked with reviewing all of the plants in Happy Trails and trying to improve the overall appearance. They also have priorities as to what is seen most often by the most people. So they wish to refresh. I don't know how many come in the main entrance on a regular basis, but if you come in the main entrance, there are 3 square planters that are perpendicular to the guardhouse. They will be moving, the landscape committee will be moving those 3 planters in front of the guardhouse so that they are more visible and not looking like a line along the road. They will be refreshing. Right now, there's just 1 cactus in each of them. They will be refreshing those pots. Yesterday, the landscape committee walked with 2 landscape architects and got some suggestions for refreshing the pots in the town center courtyard to add a bit of color. And I wish to clarify this, it will not be seasonal color that requires high maintenance. It will be desert color that does not require any more maintenance than the pots are getting right now. There are a couple of things called elephant somethings, and I am not familiar. Thank you, I am not familiar with all of it, but the elephant things are going to be repurposed into the ground because they're really not a pot plant. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about making what we have in the courtyard and what we have up by the courthouse, up by the guardhouse look better. That's it. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Residents?
Kathleen Connor, Lot 1312. So my question on this agenda item is April 11th agenda. The board approved a $500,000 budget for landscaping, for updating the chuck wagon, and for pool. We thought new furniture, but it's refurbished. So anyway, so this $500, is that in addition to that 500,000, or is this another item that now you're asking for $500 for plants? And second part of the question, how many plants and how much do they cost? You have 3 pots. I just filled 2 humongous pots for $25 each in all of my pots. So why $500?
It's part of that money allocated, but that $500 is part of that money allocated already, but each time that they do spend it, they do have to come to the board. Mm-hmm. Yes, Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike Rugland, lot 1130. I was on the board, I was on DRC, I was on the improvement committee for plants around the town center and the guard station. Let's talk about the guard station for a minute. There's no irrigation up there for the pots. So how do you plan on spending $500 to put plants in there and maintaining them? And the other thing is, I think me and my wife spent maybe $50 to do all of them.
Well, it is up to 500. It is coming from money that we have already allocated, and the plants are now being hand watered. So that which is there now is being cared for by maintenance or.
Mysterious person.
So that which is there is being watered. And by the way, thank you and your wife for all the years you watered them. Appreciate it.
My understanding too, that $500 isn't just for those pots. It's a general slush fund for them to use for various pots, not just those 3 pots that's up there. I beg your. Okay, okay.
Yes, good afternoon. Terry Bader, lot 953. I've got a question for the board. When you look at this job, such as these pots, don't you folks come up with a scope of work first and then sit down and come up with a number as to X amount of plants, X amount of pots, the price of each of these things, and come up with a number? It seems as though this board sort of has a thing of just throwing out numbers. And as you said, that $5,000 just falls into, or excuse me, that $500 just falls into another pot. I'm trying to get a handle on this board as to how they do things. It seems like they put the cart before the horse and just arbitrarily put numbers out there. When the $500,000 was dedicated to the 3 projects, was there ever any type of scope of work or bids or anything that the board referred to when they came up with $500,000? That's my big question with this board, and I'm looking for that transparency, and I don't see it at all. Thank you.
That's what we have committees for. We have a landscape committee that we have given them latitude and asked them to come up with things and stuff. We have a BGM committee, we have DRC committees and stuff, and that's the point of having committees, is we've asked them, and committees are made up of residents and stuff, and so the board doesn't want and have control to micromanage every single little detail that does. That's not our job, to sit there and say, this is exactly what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it, and we want control over every single little detail. Yes, we came up with a general budget that said, we want beautification. We want beautification of the pools. We want beautification of the meridian down the part. We want beautification of the front entrance. Now, landscape committee, it's your job to go out and take a look at this, architectural design, this kind of stuff. But we don't want to micromanage you. You live here. This is your resort. Come up with some ideas and stuff. Yes, you have a budget, but it's not our job to micromanage. It's not our job to micromanage the management here and stuff. You live here. This is your resort. That's why we have committees.
And I absolutely understand you, absolutely 100%, because I know you folks are burdened and overworked. But when these committees do come up with their feedback to you, can the homeowners see this? Because, as you say, committees have gotten back to you and come up with $500,000 budget to do these things. I, for one, have never seen pencil on paper as to what these things cost. And that's my biggest concern here.
I know. Janice Fentress, Lot 64. I guess my question would be, if this money is coming from the landscape committee or approving, why did we not have any new committee reports from the landscape committee today?
Mickey Aston, Lot 13, still 39 years, not planning on leaving.
She was gone
Almost,
for 12.
almost still, Steve. My question is along the line of the last two people. I always look and come to most of these meetings or come online. I cannot remember the last time a committee reported on anything. I think Marie brought up that the committees are responsible for these things. I have a major question about the safety committee. I'm also confused about the finance committee because if you look online, they're the budget committee. And I believe there's a couple more committees that are created that aren't documented anywhere. But I do have a major question about security and I would love for that to be on the agenda sometime. It's recent changes, I think, that were made to our procedures at the front gate with patrol, checking people who come in.
Okay, again,
Send it to me and I'll put it on the agenda for next meeting.
thank you for your questions.
Okay, thank you, Darlene.
Hi, I'm Jack Besham from Lot 900. I've been on the DRC committee and I'm on the safety committee. If you want to know what's going on, come to the damn meetings. Our safety committee has 2 people maybe show up. These committees are for you. They're for you to sit into and bring up stuff that you want these committees to deal with, both safety, how this place looks, but nobody shows up. If you want to know what's going on with these committees, before it gets to them, come to the damn meetings. Don't sit home.
Okay, I think it's time to call for the vote.
Call for the question.
Call for the question.
May I please have one more question? Mickey Aston again, Lot 13. I've asked Darlene this also in the realm of communication. If we had a committee agenda, the time and the place, and in order to attend these meetings,
They are posted every single time. They
I
are.
never see an agenda, and I've been told there is no agenda.
No, the agendas maybe are not posted, but the meetings are posted.
Okay. I'm just wanting more communication.
This is the last one.
Dan Phillips, Lot 676, I'm an owner. I support the program that she's bringing forth. We need to beautify and update this area. As members, we can't micromanage everyone. I'm going to give her the trust. She met with our landscape architect. Sounds like they got a good planning proposal. I don't have to read everything. If it's bad, I'll let you know later. But for $500, for $500, I'm happy. And this is the other thing. I'm really happy we're starting these things. We have to do it. And it's not going to satisfy every member here in the park, but it'll get better and better. And the idea that you're using experts, to me, that's the key. And maybe you got them free. I don't know. Not. Yeah.
The landscape committee worked with the landscape architects and got the landscape architects to dedicate 1/2 of their day to touring Happy Trails with the landscape committee and with me, and there was no charge to Happy Trails. That's what our landscape committee did with working with vendors.
And I applaud that because now you have a direction, because how can you make all the decisions? Now you have a direction and you can bring it. You're just asking for a modest amount of money. Go for it. Thank you.
Okay.
There is a safety committee meeting this next week, Wednesday, 10 o'clock. So those that are interested in the safety committee, what they talk about and what they're doing, go to the meeting. You're all here, go to the meeting.
Okay.
It's in the Manzanita room, 10 o'clock Wednesday, next Wednesday, this coming up Wednesday.
Okay. I'm calling for the question. All those in favor of the $500? Oh, yes. Yes, roll call.
Okay, roll call vote. Roberta Ernest,
Yes.
Marilyn Sorensen,
Yes.
Becca Paulson,
Yes.
Steve Deal,
Yes.
Jennifer Ellswick,
Definitely.
Cindy Evans,
Yes.
and Marie Beschen.
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you.
Okay. We have an approval for a purchase of a new soundboard for the PAC. Soundboard.
Okay. My bad. I move to approve the application for the Happy Trails RV Club to be chartered.
No.
No, that's not the one?
No.
Oh, great.
Purchase a new soundboard.
Oh, soundboard. I don't have the sound. Do you have it? Thank you, Steve. Sorry, gang. I move to approve the purchase of a new soundboard for the PAC for an amount not to exceed $3,000. Monies to be paid out of reserve item 929.
Second.
Thelma,
Discussion, please. Thelma, do
you
you
want to come up and
is
talk
Thelma
about the
here?
soundboard? Well, he's running the current soundboard.
Is Thelma or Dave going to talk about this? Details?
He's always the guy in the back.
1, 2, go.
Tell us about the new soundboard, Dave.
Can you tell us about the condition of the current soundboard and why we need, or you're asking to purchase a new soundboard, please?
It's on its last leg. The computer monitor just flashing automatically on its own, out of control. And it's on and off.
How old is that current soundboard?
The fact that we can't hear you is also a note.
That too. How's that?
Better.
It's done its time. It's shorting out just randomly, like at the meeting last week. It's uncontrollable.
I can vouch, being a member of theater, that it makes a huge difference when we're up on stage and we may be lip syncing, but that music comes out of that soundboard over there. And when we're standing there trying to do our very best so that all of you can hear us and hear that music and stuff, and our mouths are going 90 miles an hour, but that music isn't, and it cuts out, it makes a huge difference. Same thing for the paid shows that you pay your $25, $35, $45 for, and that music is going, and then all of a sudden it's not going. You certainly want the best sound possible. This ballroom is huge and it's beautiful, and we have new floors and new stage and all that kind of stuff. But if that music isn't up to par and you can't hear it, even with our wonderful hearing aids that we have, it certainly isn't enjoyable. So a sound system makes all the difference in the world. Anything else from the board? Okay, Jan.
Jan Fentress, Lot 64. Y'all ought to know who I am by now. A few years ago, I was the director of the theater group here, and I will vouch for the fact that that soundboard needs to be replaced. It's ancient, it's antique, it doesn't work well at times. We do need a new soundboard, whether it be for the theater group, whether it be for the people who are here for other shows, or for the church group, or for whoever is in this building. That soundboard, it's too old to even function sometimes. So I vote we get a new soundboard.
Okay, you want to do a roll call?
Okay. Roberta Ernest,
Yes.
Marilyn Sorensen,
Yes.
Becca Paulson,
Yes.
Steve Deal,
Yes.
Jennifer Ellswick,
Yes.
Cindy Evans,
Yes.
and Marie Beschen.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay. Next motion to come before the board is the application for chartered veterans.
Yeah, I move to approve the establishment of a Happy Trails Veterans Club. This club will be for all veterans and their spouses residing in Happy Trails.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
We established, I think, Thelma, you can correct me if I'm wrong, we had about 125 veterans sign up or register for the lunch. That means we have at least 125 veterans here, Happy Trails, plus their spouses. A few years ago, when I was asked to do the Veterans Day celebration, I realized our amount of veterans here was pretty large, and I was a little surprised we didn't have a club, so I started thinking about it. This year, when I did it again, I started this process this year. I met with the Sun City Festival Veterans Club to get an idea about their bylaws, their programs, what they do. I brought that back and had an interim meeting with another 5 veterans, and we put together proposed bylaws for the group. We did a survey and actually had 50 people respond on the survey because it went through Neighbor, and some people just don't like to do surveys. We also had an informal gathering in April, which was attended by about 27 veterans and a couple spouses. And then we had another informal meeting just this past November 6th with another 25 veterans and 2 spouses. If there's any veterans in the room, will you please stand up, and your spouses? Stand up, Donna. You're... Okay, this club, will be a chartered club. They will have a board of directors. They will collect dues. We are potentially looking at, I'm probably giving you way too much, but you want transparency. Here it is. $10 a year for dues, which will go to, even though we will not have our own dedicated room, it will be for functions like possibly helping with other veterans in a nursing home, helping buying shirts. We'd like to start a Red Shirt Friday. For those of you that know what Red Shirt Friday is, we'd like to get that started here on the association grounds. And Red Shirt Friday stands for Remembering Everyone Deployed. It's normally a red shirt with some type of flag on it. It says red on it. It's supporting all our active duty troops that are downrange. The other factor would be our own shirts. We'd like to sell things here to the group. We also will probably start one of our first fundraisers. We'll be looking at a memorial where the 7 flags were erected over by the gazebo, honoring and in tribute of our services and our veterans here. We'd like to possibly set up a memorial there to recognize those veterans that lived here at Happy Trails that have since passed on. That's going to take some money and some gumption, people working this. So all in all, the club, though, is for camaraderie among veterans. We tend to speak the same language. It's an opportunity for us to maybe relish and share some stories, but it's also an opportunity for us to learn and get educated about the benefits that are available to us as veterans, which many of us tend to forget or don't know about because the benefits do change every year. State statutes, anything from Congress, you name it. So we have lined up our meetings to be on the first Wednesday of every month. And we actually, our first meeting will be January 1st, and we already have a presenter for that meeting talking about Social Security benefits for veterans, and that'll still be in the what they call the sign-on phase. So that's what we're about. I'm hoping that we can get support from the community, but I think the veterans that I've talked to and their spouses are all for it. The spouses will not be charged. They will be non-voting members. And for spouses whose veterans have already passed, we definitely encourage you to come in and be part of the club. We want to put our arms around. Hey, oh, it must have been that soundboard. Thanks, Jill. Okay, anyways, any questions from the board members?
Any questions from this audience?
Donna, 379. I am part of this VA group, and I can tell you there are a lot of members, veterans here in this resort that have no concept of what they are due from our country, and this is a great thing for them. Also, we're going to help anybody in the resort that is a veteran that needs help with their yard or with whatever. This is a really, really great way of community service for our vets that are here. So I'm all for this, of course, so just saying.
Okay, call for the vote. All those in favor? Motion carried. Okay, all right. Okay, we have an application for Happy Trails RV Club to be chartered.
I move to approve the application for the Happy Trails RV Club to be chartered. They are a club, they exist, they have members, and they do things and they go on trips. They simply wish to be a chartered club.
Second.
I think she said.
Okay. Any comments or questions on the board?
Yeah, I think they've been functioning as a charter club all this time. They just found out for some reason they weren't chartered. So we're just kind of doing the formality.
And I think several of us are members and have been for a long time. It's a lot of fun. Any questions or comments from the board? Any questions or comments from the floor? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Motion carried. All right, that's all the new business that we have. The bistro sets for the gazebo has been removed, and we removed the CCNRs. So we have no variances. President's announcements. I don't know about you, but I love this time of year. My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving for a couple of reasons. Number one, I love the food. I don't know about you, and I think it kind of shows. I love the food. It's also the time of the year that we start gathering with our friends and our family and get together with all those people that mostly that we love. But it's also the time that people start returning to the resort and it starts filling up. And I love it. I love seeing all the happy faces. I love seeing all people gathering around at the park and visiting with people we haven't seen for a long time and gathering on the porches and getting together again. It's my favorite time of the year. One of the traditions that my family has, and I bet many families has, is when you gather around, you hold hands and you say what you're thankful for, and you look at each other and you say the few things. And one of the things I'm thankful for is this resort, and my neighbors, and my friends, and my family. And one of the other traditions that I think many people have is when they leave at the end of the evening, they say things like safe travel and be careful when you travel and call me when you get home. And the reason we say that is because we care. And we want to make sure that they got home safe and sound because we want to make sure that we see them again and we care about them. And we say things like that here at Happy Trails, but we use different words. We use words like slow down, stop. But it means the same thing. They're different words, but it means exactly the same thing because we care. We want to make sure that those neighbors are here and that we're going to see them again, and we do care. One of the things that we've noticed is that our traffic accidents have risen. We're having more and more traffic accidents. Some of them are fender benders. Some of them are scrapes and stuff. Some of them are full-blown accidents. Some of them have included human beings. Accidents so badly that they're wound up in the hospital with permanent damage. One of the things we don't want to hear is that the next accident's been a fatality. Not only for the person involved and their family, but for the person who caused it. Because the last thing that you want to hear or live with is that you caused another human being to die. The guilt that that will leave you with the rest of your life. So what I want to say to you at this time is, drive safely, come home, and be blessed. This time and always, because I care, because we all care. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving and a wonderful holiday. Darlene, did you have a message?
I just want to welcome everyone back. It's nice to see all of you here. I hope that in the future we'll get a good turnout like this in other board meetings and in town hall meetings. Again, thank you for being here. And like Marie said, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you.
And with that, the meeting's adjourned.